Welcome back. So far, Morocco has been unlike other North African countries when dealing with religious political parties. It's allowed them to operate freely and compete in parliamentary elections in hopes of stemming violence. But which approach is working? These are scenes that haunt governments. This attack in Algeria last April killed more than 30 people. An attack on Tunisian synagogue in 2002 killed 21 and sent scores more to hospital. Both countries have attempted to crack down on religious parties. The Tunisian government bans them, and the Algerian government bans parties which appeal overtly to religion. Joining us again are our guests in Rabat, Mustafa Al-Khalfi, political strategist at the Justice and Development Party, PJD. From London, Mohammed bin Madani. He is the North Africa analyst for Maghreb Review. Also in Rabat, Lahsan Haddad, a columnist and strategic studies professor at the Mohammed V University. Gentlemen, let me go to Mr. Lahsan Haddad in Rabat. In North Africa, we have two ways of dealing with the Islamists and Islamic parties. The Moroccan way, which is politically engaging in these parties, Algeria to a lesser extent, and the zero-tolerance approach applied by the Tunisians. Are we seeing here a Tunisian way of dealing with the Islamists injected in the Moroccan political life?
I don't think so. I think that the Moroccan authorities will go on with the plan of integrating the Islamists. What we need to understand here is that this is a new brand of terrorism. This is terrorism that is homegrown in Europe. I mean, like the ringleader comes from Belgium, by the way, and then he has been there for the last 20 years or so. And we are dealing with a new form of terrorism of people not necessarily directly linked to Al-Qaeda, but I mean, like are linked to the Islamic youth back to the 70s when it splintered into small groups, and some of them have been dormant cells for a long time. And one of the problems that Morocco has to deal with is how to deal with people who are saying that they have become moderate kind of Islamists, but they still carry behind them a past that they have not denounced. And I think this is a dilemma that Morocco has to deal with. But I don't think that this is like a change in the strategy that Morocco has adopted. Yeah.
Mr. Mohammed bin Madani, the network will be tried under the anti-terror law. And the problem is that we don't know yet all the details about what's going on. Are you concerned that the anti-terror law is going to be widely used in North Africa to clamp down on those who are credited by polls to become the main vote getters in the coming elections?
I am very worried because this anti-terrorist laws goes beyond what one wished to have. At this stage or at the moment, what we have in North Africa, I don't know whether my colleague in Rabat will agree with me, is that these political parties, Islamist or non-Islamist, they can work and politically be involved as long as they don't challenge the authority of the head of state. In Morocco, as you know, we have the king who is Amir al-Mu'minin. Therefore, the political parties, they cannot challenge his authority. In Algeria, you have an authoritarian regime, but it allows us the two Islamist political parties to be involved, namely the movement of society
and peace,
for justice, which formerly Hamas, and they are allowed to work as long as they don't challenge the authority of the
very narrow leeway to operate.
Yeah, in Tunisia, they are completely banned. Nobody is allowed to speak in the name of Islam. And one must remember the Nahda, which was the first to be established as Islamist movement in Tunisia.
I was clamped down in the 80s.
Was originally allowed to work under Ben Ali.
Okay,
now it's completely banned.
Mr. Mustafa Al-Khalfi,
that is the scenario.
In 2003, you were nearly banned as a party after the Casablanca attacks, and the society was saying that, look at the justice and development, they are to be blamed mainly because of the new Islamist sentiment in the country. Aren't you concerned that this time people would say, look, because of the PJD are now in the parliament, they are bolstering this radical feeling in Moroccan streets, and therefore we should clamp down on the PJD?
No, I don't think so. I think now in Morocco that the government is taking into account the specificity of the Moroccan society, of the specificity of the regime itself, the religious dimension of the regime, also the diversity of the Islamic movement. So in my thinking, there is no one approach in Morocco. It's multi-approach strategy in Morocco. A strategy of integration toward Justice and Development Party, a strategy of ignorance toward justice and spirituality, al-adl wal-ihsan in Morocco, and a strategy of, in some way, tolerance, accepting, not accepting, but also a strategy to crack down, to eradicate any kind of terrorism activities.
Mr. Mustafa,
so it's not only, yes?
I got your point. Let me go to Mr. Lahsan Haddad. Lahsan Haddad, we're talking here about a delicate choice that the government in Morocco is facing. On one hand, the main political parties with an Islamic agenda are the PJD, number 2 in the parliament. And then you have justice and spirituality, which is tolerated on one hand, but banned from mainstream politics. Aren't you concerned that the clampdown could lead to more radicalization in Morocco and allowing thousands of young Moroccans to go underground?
Well, I think the clampdown, concerns mostly the radical forces in the Islamic groups, but I don't think there is a clampdown, for example, on PJD, and there is a clampdown on al-adl wal-ihsan when it takes actions which are illegal, or when it has like assemblies which are illegal in a sense. So I think, yes, there is a fine line that the government is trying to walk between, tolerating some and also clamping on others. And I think there is always a danger there, of some Islamic group, becoming more radicalized. But I think also in integrating groups or parties like the PJD, which is moderate, I think it's also, there is a benefit there in the sense that a lot of people will participate through the PJD. And there are, there are a lot of young people, there are a lot of intellectuals and all of that who have joined the PJD, and they're participating in political life. So it could go both ways, but I think in this kind of specific situation, we don't have yet all the elements to really formulate in what way it could really change the strategy of the government, or how it will disturb this kind of strategy of the government.
Well, gentlemen, Mr. Mustafa Khalfi, Mr. Mohammed bin Madani, and Mr. Lahsan Haddad, thank you very much indeed. Thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. We welcome your comments and suggestions. Please email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. Goodbye for now.